Okay, what is authorization? Authorization in simple term means, is this person allowed to perform this action? That is authorization. Do you have the authority to do something? That is authorization. So whenever we discuss security, two terms always come together. Okay, one is authentication, second one is authorization. Authentication means, is this a proper user? Is this valid user? That is authentication. Nothing but you try to log in into the system, username, password, you have some credentials. So first you will be always authenticated. Are you a valid person? Next, once it is identified that you are a valid person, on top of authentication, authorization comes in picture. Okay, so this person is valid person, but can this valid person perform this action? That is authorization. तो दो चीजें होती है guys. Authentication, are you valid? Second, yes, you are valid, but are you allowed to perform this action? And in many projects, these kind of things might be there. For example, let's say Amazon Prime के example में भी होता है, right? So first of all, it depends, right? Initially, they used to offer like free access for everybody. So that means valid person is there, authentication is done, but having access in a free manner to the resources. Later on, Amazon Prime changed the model. Ki, okay, everybody, in order to use the project or their services, videos, they have to be authorized also. Nothing but paid accounts people should have it. So there is possible, let's assume there is a business, let's say Prime, in that there might be free users and there might be paid users. And now Amazon Prime is having one more feature called as rent movie. So guys, just imagine if you open one account with Amazon Prime, then you are authenticated. You can log in and you have the authority to get in the system, authenticated. But the point is, are you authorized to access a rented movie? If you have paid for that rented movie, then only you will be able to access it, otherwise not. Similarly, there might be multiple movies only eligible for paid users, not to the free users. And then for free users, a different set of access will be there. So hope you are understanding. Or one user is, yes, definitely authenticated, but he is not authorized to perform action. In order to authorization, some additional checks are there. Maybe you have to go for something different, right? As simple as authentication, authorization. Okay, very good. Okay, now understand. Dekho. OAuth 2 framework is primarily designed for authorization work, but internally it takes care of authentication. Let me write down the statement, very important. Everywhere you see, they will say OAuth is a authorization framework. Nothing but primary aim of OAuth is to decide whether this person can do this action or not. But internally, they take care of even authentication work, like identifying whether the right user is there or not. How it works, we will step by step understand. But internally, they take care of authentication. Once the user is authenticated, then they check for authorization. Is he allowed to perform this action or not? But the main selling point of OAuth 2.0 framework is authorization. So people call it as authorization. Okay, so this is an authorization framework. I think to be more precise, it is open authorization, OAuth, open authorization. But just double check that one on internet. Okay, now how does this framework work? And there are, guys, multiple ways of implementing OAuth, and different scenarios may people use OAuth differently. So we will understand some high level about it, and then we will get into details how PayPal is using OAuth. Okay, so there are multiple ways. So now let's put it into a diagram. Let's put it into a diagram. Focus everybody, it's very interesting. Okay, and after that we will coding will become easy once you understand these remaining concepts. So The funda is pretty simple, guys. Okay, let's assume this is PayPal system. This is PayPal system. PayPal. PayPal is having some, let's say, resources or services or data. Okay, resources or services or data. In our case, there are multiple resources like APIs. PayPal is giving a lot of APIs. These are services which the people can use. So PayPal system is there. It is having multiple services. Okay. What this OAuth mechanism is saying, open authentication, OAuth mechanism, authorization is saying, okay, if the user wants to access, so user means e-commerce system. So imagine from that perspective, PayPal is there. PayPal is giving multiple APIs like create order API. It might also have some user data. We will talk about those use cases also. But OAuth concept is not just specific to PayPal. It's a bigger concept. Many projects are using it. That is where I mentioned user data could be there. Some APIs could be there. PayPal is having some kind of a data, some kind of APIs, something which needs security. And the rest of the world wants it. So let's assume the rest of the world may, our e-commerce application is coming in picture. Our e-commerce application wants to get access to these resources, to these APIs, to this data. Okay. So our e-commerce system wants to have nothing but in the postman, you're making the API call. Okay. What OAuth based mechanism says, guys, now listen this part very carefully. What OAuth mechanism says, in order to get this, you need something called as access token. Token based security is there. OAuth says, if you want to access any of our resources, you need to provide us with a token. Generally, they call that terminology as access token. Guys, first understand, after that we will link everything together. One by one, as the topic is coming, focus here. After that, we will relate everything together. So OAuth is saying, if you want to access any resources or APIs, first of all, we will not give it to everyone. It should be secured. Only valid people having that authority to access should be able to access it. Not everybody in the world. How they do that is using OAuth. What OAuth says, in order to access any data in a secured manner using OAuth, you need to provide access token. How to get the access token? Separate story. But you need to provide access token. Once this access token reaches to the PayPal system, then PayPal verifies, is this token valid? That's what it is. So before giving you access to that, PayPal verifies your token. Is this token valid? They have their own ways of verification. Next, is this token valid? And if it is valid, is this token or using this token, nothing but authority, using this token, can user access these APIs? This is the second thing which PayPal is going to take care. So that is where if you pass an incorrect token here, immediately PayPal says, no, ye to gaya, right? If you do it like this, immediately says invalid token. So if the token expires, it will become invalid. If the token is something else, which is like not what they have given it to us, it will become invalid. But just be aware of this. They need, or OAuth needs, access token for ensuring security. Every user, when they want to access some kind of information from PayPal, and if they are using OAuth, it's mandatory for them to pass an access token. When you give an access token, PayPal verifies that access token, and if it is valid, if the user have the authority to access this, then PayPal will consider it valid and give you access. Otherwise, simply it will be rejected and you will not be allowed to access this data. Guys, are we clear with this? Simple है. एक access token is required. How the token comes, समझेंगे. From where are the tokens generated? What are the ways of generating token? Later story. But in order to access something securely, you need a token. PayPal verifies the token. If it is valid, if you have the authority to access that API, then only you will be allowed to continue. Otherwise, nahi chalega. That is OAuth